Boris Johnson has been talking about plans to deal with the cost of living crisis.
Sure that no one pays any more than they need to for their energy costs.
The UK is in the midst of a cost of living crisis, and this morning we can
Look at how petrol prices are doing. Well, latest figures show the average.
You know, you don't need me to tell you at the moment there's like price rises in our gas, electric, diesel. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to get one of our 5 kilo bait deals. I'm going to be taking it to 3 different venues, and I'm going to look at different ways, different methods of how I can get the best out of that package. So let's get my bait. So what did I choose on my deal? Right, I went for the bug 15 millers, 5 kilos of the bug 15 mil. I went for the bug half-tone pop-ups. So I've got a little bit of options there with those. And my liquid, I've gone for a litre of the bug hydro spod syrup. So this deal costs £57.50. So if you go over to DNA Bait's website, look for the deals, find the 5 kilo deal, and it lists all the different ranges of what bait you can have, what liquids you can have, and what pop-ups you can have. So I've got 1 or 2 ideas in my head on how I'm going to approach fishing this trip. So what you can do is, because I've got a post-free deal, you can add other items to that, and that'll come post-free as well. So the first thing I want is, and I don't go anywhere without this, the crayfish mini mix pellets. Thank you. Right, so there's a bag of crayfish mini mix pellets. These are mega for PVA bags, mega for adding a little bit into the mix. So that's a really good addition to have. So if you've seen any of my stuff before, you may well notice that when I'm dealing with hook baits, I like to pimp them, and that's just not on the fluoros, that's on the match the hatch. I always like to do something with the hook baits, make them stand out. Now in this case, with these bug half tones, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use some of the Intense Booster. Okay, that's a 15 ml tub of bug flavour that is a really high concentrate. Now, obviously we're going to pour some of that on the hook bait, but that's not the only thing you can do with this. This is good for another few tricks. So when we get out fishing tomorrow, I'll show you what I do with it. So these deals come in a range of options. It's all on the website. You can have dumbbells, you can have freezer bait, shelf life, all the different flavours. And with the liquids, different choice of liquids, and of course your hook baits, you can have your fluoros, you match the hatch, wafters, whatever you want. So it's all in the drop down menus. But for now, that's me sorted, and I'll see you in the morning. So our mini northern road trip is started. Yeah, we had a real nice drive down this morning. We've travelled a little bit further south than DNA headquarters. We're actually in Doncaster. Now we're at a fishery called Tyram Hall Fisheries. Now this is the only fishery that we're going to visit on this little trip that I've actually been to before. I've actually fished this lake. There's 3 lakes on this complex. In the entrance area, there's a little match fishery. This is called Horseshoe, so this is like the day ticket runs water. And the other side of those trees, there's quite a famous syndicate. I've never been on the syndicate. Well, I actually have, but many years ago. A little guestie I got on there. But the only lake I properly fished is this one. I did a winter session on here in January. The good thing about that is I know a couple of spots. The other lakes we're going to visit, I don't know any spots. Because I'm going to be limited to how much bait I can put out, the last thing I want to be doing is baiting areas that aren't going to do me any good. So I've got a little bit of an advantage on this one. So all I've done before we've done anything is pop the marker out, and I've just pulled the marker through those spots. The little gravel areas, lead was bouncing across, so that's good. So those 2 rods are probably going to get maybe 2 or 3 spods on them. Fish nice and tight, get the fish right onto the bait as quick as I can. And my 3rd rod is going to be a PVA bag. That's the reason I got them crayfish mini mix pellets, because when you fish in bags, tiny little pellets and little bag mixes, really good for attacking showing fish. So if I see anything move, it's getting a bag. So that's my tactics, and yeah, let's get some bait over the rods. So what I've done with my bait, I've got about 1.5 kilos of them 15 mil bugs, and I'll put them into my bait bucket with a crusher. But what I've done is I've gone really tight with the crusher on some, and then I've gone really light just skimming over the top. And what that creates is a load of different sizes. So I've got basically from dust right through to quarters and half chunks. So obviously I'm really limited with what I can put out, so I'm going to go for about 5 spods over each rod. But of course, before I do that, I'm going to put some of the bug hydrospod syrup on the top. And the good thing about when you're using crumb, when the hydrospod gets into that crumb, it makes it really heavy, and that'll sink and that'll stay on the bottom for me. So my left hand rod is done. That's gone down that tree line onto that gravel patch what I talked about earlier. I'm using the bug half-tone pop-ups on this trip, so because you get a pink and a white, I'm going to try both colours. So the left hand rod's got the pink, the right hand rod's going to get the white, and I'll just see what's going to get me the most bites. But for now, I've marked up what's going to be the middle rod. That is, again, it's on a little gravel patch that I fished here when I was here in January. I've pulled the marker, it's nice and bouncy. So same thing, I'm going to put about 5 spods over the top of that and get a rig on it, and let's just assess, see if we can see some fish, see if we can get some liners, and see what the pond's going to do for us today. The good thing about fishing these 2 gravel spots is they're both at exactly the same range, so I don't have to adjust the spod rod. So yeah, like I said, about 5 or so spods over each rod, and we'll just see what happens. Now, in terms of that bait deal what I got, you'll notice that I added an intense booster. Now, especially in the autumn, I like to add extra attraction to my hook bait, and the key thing to what we're doing here is I can't put a load of bait out to draw fish onto me, so when they do come into my mix, I want my hook bait to be super attractive. I want it to go quick so I can get the rod back out and not have to pile another load of bait in, you know, to get it going again. So what I do is with that intense booster, I don't put, a lot of people put the whole jar onto a tub of pop-ups. You don't need to do that. You just need to glaze your baits, give them a good shake, and that like intense boosted pot, you can actually pour a little bit onto your hook bits, which is what I'm doing with these rods, just a little bit onto the hook bits, just rub it in with your finger as it goes out, and it just creates that hook bit being like super attractive. So the plan is when they come into the mix, they start picking up all these little items, that pop-up's there and it's right in the face, and fingers crossed it goes straight away and leaves me a bit of bait on the spot to get the rod back out and hopefully get another one. That's the plan. Yes, we have bite. It's a bit of a strange bite. He's only a little one, but he's a bite, and it is a start on the white halftones. Nice, we got a bite. Yeah, it was just a bit of a drop dark up and down, and I thought, there is quite a few small ones in here, but yeah, it's a start. We have a fish. Well, I said it was a small fish, but we didn't think it was quite as small as this, but it's a start. We've had a bite. So there you go, lovely little scatter scale fella. Yeah, not the biggest fish in the lake. There is quite a few of these in this lake though, to be fair, but they do run to mid-20s, so we do have a chance of a better fish later on. So yeah, I'm going to pop this one back out again, but I'm tempted to put more bait out, but I'm not going to do it because this rod hasn't been out there long enough for like 6 spods to have gone, so I'm pretty sure there's some bait there. So all I'm going to do is going to put a fresh pop-up on, flick the rod back out, and hopefully there's enough bait there to keep the fish there and we'll get another bite before I have to top it up. So those 2 main rods, I've got them done now, happy with those, they're on the spot. And what I mentioned to you earlier was with my third rod, I was hoping that we'd see something. Now, while we've been setting those rods up, spodding, etc., etc., I've seen 3 fish to a group of snags just to the left hand side of my bivvy. Now if I fish that area, I can't put the rod on the pod because the tree would stop me, and if you're fishing snags you want your rod pointing straight to it. So I've just set up little single bank sticks and I've marked my line. I've just dropped a lead, a few casts on it, and I've got it right tight up to them snags where them fish were showing, and I'm just going to fish a PVA bag rig over that. The only thing I've changed rig wise is those are on Ronnie's. I'm happy with that. I'm fishing open water, but because I'm going to be fishing tight to snags, I've changed the rig system. I've gone for a size 4. It's a barbless hook. It's all barbless on here, but it's a size 4 hook, because if I pick a fish up from there, obviously I'm going to have to give it a bit to get it back out of those snags. And on the hook, I've not gone for a pop-up. I've made a little snowman rig. All I've done is I've trimmed off one of the 15mm bugs, and I've got one of the pink pop-ups over the top, trimmed the base of that, joined them together, nice little balanced rig. So yeah, that's what's going to go on there. And I've actually done this on film before. You may or may not have seen this, but I attach my PVA bags in a slightly different way to what most people do. It's a real quick and easy way of putting a bag on, and it's really anti-tangle as well. So I'll show you how I do it, but the main thing is for this, that's exactly why I wanted these crayfish mini mix pellets, because for PVA bag work, they're mega, they're tiny, the fish come in, they're sifting around, and more often than not your bait goes in. So yeah, I'll show you how I put that rig together. Okay, so I'm just going to pour a little bit of these crayfish mini mixes into this bag. I don't want loads, you don't have to overfill these bags, probably about just short of halfway, that'll be enough. And because I didn't use all of the intense booster, I'm just going to put just a couple of drops. You don't want loads of this, just a couple of drops of the intense booster into that. Give that a bit of a mix around. Like I say, I've been doing this for years now. It's not suitable for long range fishing this, but when we're fishing places like this, it's dead quick, dead easy. And I'll show you how I do it. Okay, so just lick the top of the bag, close it up, and you kind of like got a parcel of bait at the bottom. Got a bit of a mess on the top of my bivvy here, but there you go. Okay, so you get your hook link like that, and what you do is, at the top of that pellet, I'm just going to lick that bag, and what that's going to do is my hook link's going to stick to that because I don't want my hook link to slide. And I'm just going to put my hook link over the top of it, okay, fold it down, and then like you're rolling a cigarette, just roll it in like that, okay, lick and stick. Now you don't want your hook to go into the bag, so what you do is you just twist the hook and bring it out and just pull it parallel down the side. Just stop it catching. That's super sharp, that hook, okay, and just pull it in tight like that, and there you go, and there's my bag.
What's it called?
That is called the Vinny roll. We've had a few fish on film with this, haven't we, Ollie?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like I say, I've been using this for years. I've had loads of fish on it. Little parcel of bait, stops anything tangling, and yeah, and then like I say, them crayfish mini mix pellets, mega for working on stuff like this. They're packed in really tight, there's no air in the bag, and if I get the cast right, could be in for a bite off this rod. Right, well, my cameraman Ollie's been laughing at my casting this morning, and to be fair, it's not been the best, but anyway, those rods are good. This one went in really good first time, so I'm really happy with that. Now, obviously, I'm fishing dead tight to them snags, so the last thing I want to do is give the fish any line. So what I've done is I've put 2 single bank sticks in, and I've actually used like a screw-in pole to create the hole, so I've got them right deep, so they're super strong, super sturdy. So I'm going to put my rod in here. Definitely not going to fish any slack, so I'm going to be fishing tight up to these snags, and I'm going to set the clutch pretty tight, because the last thing I want to do is, by the time I get to this rod, is have that fish take any line off me. So you've got to give it a bit. I don't want my rod getting pulled in, so that's about right. So the cork handle of this is really gripped into that butt grip there, so that's nice and solid. Yeah, and line can come off, but only a little bit. So basically, I get a couple of bleeps on this, I've got to be on it, I'm up and out. So this is literally 6 foot from my bivvy, this rod. So yeah, happy with that. We'll see what that rod does for us. I think that's a bite. It is a bite. Right, so this right hand rod on the pod has gone again. Again, I don't think it's one of the big ones. I was just adjusting the bobbin and it shot up after I'd done it and then dropped back. Now it's only another little one. The water level on these pits, same as everywhere else, this summer they've lost a lot of water. I know we have at ours. Last time I fished here, the water was up to these sleepers. Here we go, this one's ready. Well, he's slightly bigger. We're going in the right direction, aren't we? Slightly bigger. But yeah, another bite, and I'm glad I didn't put another spot out. I just left the bait that was out there, and obviously there was enough there. But I think on this cast I might have to put maybe 2 spods out on this one, because we've seen 1 or 2 down there, and I think probably there's not much left. So I'm going to put this rod back on the spot, but I'm going to put 2 spods on it, and hopefully we'll get another one this afternoon. Well, we're not breaking any records so far, are we? But we are getting bites, and that's the ethos of this film, you know, to get the best as what we can do out of that 5 kilo deal. And so far, I've used nearly 1.5 kilos and had 2 bites, so we're on track. Yeah, 2 bites, and yeah, we're moving into the tea time period now, and if I'm honest, I am expecting probably all of these rods to go at some point through the night. Because my experiences here before, once that sun went down, that's when it all started to happen. So we've had a couple, we've made a start, and let's see what the night does for us. Okay, so I've had a couple of bites off this right hand rod on here, but the left hand rod so far hasn't done anything. And while I've been looking out there, there's just been 1 or 2 backs coming out. Now, we had that cold spell about a week ago, but it's actually really mild today. And there's an handful of fish on the top. So one of the reasons I got the 12mm hook baits was because they're perfect for zigging. So I spoke to my cameraman Ollie, who is my carp caddy, and he says, oh, you want to be on the whites? And as it happens, both the bites have come off the white bait. So what I've done, I've just put a 12mm pop up just on a zig. I know it's just over 5 foot there, so I've set up a 5 foot zig. So I'm going to put this out there amongst them and just see if we can sneak one on the old zig. So again, with the intense booster, I'm just going to put a couple of drops on it. Like I say, a lot of people put the full like tub of these into the hook baits. You don't need to do that, you only need to coat them. So yeah, just cover that in a bit of the intense booster, and yeah, let's see if we can sneak one on the zigs. Right, well that zig wasn't out there for long. I said there was a couple of backs out there, and it's having a go to get around the back of this tree. I don't think it's a big one again, but like I said, it's another bite. That rod wasn't out there like 5 minutes. No, we probably won't.
2 minutes.
Yeah, it's only a tiddler, but it's another bite, and it hasn't cost us any bait, which is a bonus bite, isn't it? Because we are about 2 kilos in, but to be fair, I haven't had a bite off the left-hand rod here, so I'm pretty sure that bait's still there, so that won't be getting any more bait tonight. That can stay there once I've finished having a bit of a play with these zigs. This rod will go back on that spot because it's not linered or anything, so I'm quite happy that that bait's still there. I will have to top this one up because that's the one that's done as the 2 bottom bites that we've had. And there we go. It is another little fish. But yeah, it's a bit of autumn fun, this. I'm enjoying this. Just goes to show you don't have to like pile loads of bait out. You just have to make sure that you're on the right spot and you're tight with your baiting, and yeah. You can get a few bites. It would be nice to get one of the better fish out of here, but as you can see, it is a runs water, and there are a lot of small fish in here, but there is some nice ones in here, so we are going to try. He's putting up a decent fight for a little one, isn't he? But it's amazing, you know, I've just got this bite just by sat in my chair watching what's going on, and I just seen 1 or 2 backs come up. We had a speck of rain a few minutes ago, and I just seen a couple of backs come up just cruising around, and I thought there's 1 or 2 on the top there, so he's a little linear. So just being bothered to adjust a rod and tie a zig up. Fortunately, I knew the depth, so I didn't have to plumb it, so I've just literally put 1 cast onto the spot, so I didn't disturb them that much. And yeah, we've had another bite. He's a pretty little linear. There we go. See that white half tone in his mouth? Yeah, he's gone straight for that. Happy days. That's bite number 3. Right, well, my amazing wife yesterday cooked a big stew and there was plenty left over, so I'm just popping a bit of Guinness into it and I'm warming it up on the old pan now. Oh, that's going to be awesome. So yeah, eventful day. We actually had 4 bites. I lost another one on the zig after we had that little linear, but yeah, so kind of like mission accomplished so far. We came to a venue with a lot of fish in it, obviously. I mean, I appreciate we ain't caught any big fish. There are 1 or 2 in here, but you know, we've had a bit of sport, and I'm 2 kilos in, plus the PVA bags, what I've used a little bit of pellet, so I'm doing all right bait wise. I've still got half a tub of spod syrup left as well. So I've basically recharged all 3 rods. Fresh hook baits, just double check the sharpness of my hooks, etc, etc, as you do. Dropped them on the spots, and those 2 rods have got 2 spods on each rod. This rod's is just staying on the bag, is that one across them snags. So yeah, we're ready for the first evening of the little road trip that we're doing. So we'll fish till about 8:30, something like that, get packed up, load the vans up, and we'll get off. And the plan is to go to a little days only venue and just do a bit of PVA bag fishing on there for a few hours, and then we've lined up another lake to go to tomorrow night. Both of those lakes, I've never heard of them, let alone been to them, so it's going to be a complete new one for us. We don't really know what we're going to expect when we get there, and not had time to do a lot of research. All we knew is that they're open and they're allowing us to come and fish, so it's a bit of an adventure. So yeah, as you can see, the darkness is coming in, so we'll see what the first night does for us. I reckon we're going to see Mr. Carp again before long. There's a lot of fish in this lake, and yeah, I think we're going to get another bite before we get off. Right, so I did have a bite last night, but unfortunately it was one of the really small ones. Yeah, it's a shame that we haven't got through to the bigger fish on this trip, because like I said before, there are in here, but unfortunately we was stocky bashing on this visit. We left the rods out till 10 o'clock and we was hoping for another bite, and we actually got another bite, and yeah, I lost it. So anyway, look, we've had a bit of sport, we've had some bites, and we've got about 2.5 kilos left of the boilie now, so we're going to shoot off. We're going to go to another venue just for a few hours, just a days only venue, and then after that we're going to go to another venue for the second night. So we'll get on the road and see what the rest of the day brings us. Okay, so we moved a little bit further south. We're just outside of Bawtry at a little day ticket venue, days only. It's called Riverside Fishery. It's good for a bite, so they tell me. So yeah, it's barbless hooks only on this one, so I'm just going to fish 2 rods, I think. We've seen 1 fish on this wind. It's a new wind, this wind, so we've seen 1 fish there, so that's probably going to get a bag, and the obvious spot is a set of pads down to the left, so I'm just going to drop a little bag of the crayfish mini mix on there. This is a no boilie venue, and that's the reason why I got them crayfish mini mix, because they're perfect for venues like this. So I'm just going to be fishing bags, casting at showers, and let's see if we can get a couple of bites before we go to the night venue tonight. So I'm just going to wander down here. Looks a likely spot with this wind blowing in. So we've seen one just down here as we arrived at the lake, so it's an obvious point. Like I said, that wind's dropping in here, so I'm just going to, I don't want to go too tight to the pads because I've actually walked a couple of swims down because there's no one here, so I'm just going to drop that in there. That'll do lovely. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I'm not going to go super tight to them pads because I ain't got the right angle of the rod. Okay, so that's that rod done. Drop a bobage on, there we go. Nice. Right, and the other rod's going just to the right of that. Let me get that set up. So made another little bag just with some of them mini mix pellets in. Just drop that on. This is actually a running rig, this one, which I haven't fished for a while, but on these type of venues I like a running rig. You don't see people using them as much as you used to. So yeah, so the lead can run freely on there, and bite indication is really good because as soon as they pick you up, they're kind of got your tiny little lead, because obviously we're not casting far. There we go. Well, it's a different species, isn't it? The great rod race isn't great at the moment, is it? I've had a lot of pasties and a crucian. But stay confident, stay positive. It's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
We're going to go home tomorrow. No, we're doing all right. We're getting bites, and that's what we're here for. And I ain't had a crucian for about 20 years, I don't think. Well, you tell me.
I don't know.
Don't be fishist. Right, so answers on a postcard, is there a crucian? Because we don't know. So, answers on this YouTube page, am I having a £1.5 crucian for this? I'm accepting it.
I don't know if it is a crucian.
It's got crucian written all over it. I'm having it. It's a thoroughbred crucian, it's £1.5 and it's a specimen.
I have never caught a crucian.
Well, I ain't caught one for a long time, so I'm not sure. So anyway, it's going back. I bet you wish you was as good at crucian fishing as I am, because we've only been here 3/4 of an hour and I've had a specimen. Could you do that? Didn't think so, mate. So bug half-tones, that hook needs sharpening. Bug half-tones are a good cruising bait. There you go, you had it here. You know we're making the most out of a bait deal here. I'm making the most out of these hooks. Well, if I still get a point on them, I use them. That's ready to go out again. I like cruising corner. I could fish here again, you know. I think that's a bite. Well, I've left the cruising rod doing its thing and the right hand rod's gone off now. We did see a couple of fish show on that far margin, so I just wanged a bag over there and yeah, it's gone off. I think this one might actually be a carp. Oh, it is. So all I'm doing on these rods is purely pellet only. Oh, he's a scaly thing. He's a little scaly one. Go on, go on, go on, go on. Yes. Vinny is multi-species. Nice, we've got a carp. Hey, look at that. So after that PB cruising, we've had this lovely scaly mirror. So yeah, like I said before, this was just on the crayfish bags with a little white bug pop-up over the top. Just cast across to that far margin. We see a couple of shows and just dropped a bag on them and it weren't out long. So yeah, we've still got time maybe to have another fish out of here before we move on. So I'll get this one back. We'll get another bag across there and see what happens for the rest of the afternoon. Mr. Carp, Mr. Carp. So that right hand rod's gone again. The one that I'm chucking bags across to that far margin. Just gone again. There must be a lot of fish down there because it weren't out long. Yeah. Bite number 3. So we've had a crucian, that little scaly boy. And hopefully this is going to be bite number 3 in the net. We did think it was going to rain, it started to darken off a bit. It's actually turning into a really nice afternoon. Yay, go on, fish number 3. Nice. So I think this cheeky little fella's going to be the last one from here. We've had a really good afternoon sport. We've had a few fish, and on the plus side, we've not used any of the bait deal. We've only used them crayfish pellets and a few pop-ups. So I've still got a good 2.5 kilos in the bucket, ready for tonight. And let's hope the lake we go to tonight gives us a few bigger fish. We'll see. But for now, we're going to get the vans packed up, get on the road, and move to our last venue. Okay, so I am settled in at the third and final venue of this little road trip, what we're doing, and we're at Hatton Lakes. As a fish crashes behind me, so that's always a good sign, isn't it? Yeah, so we're at Hatton Lakes and we're on a lake called Shoveler. Yeah, it's a bit of a run. There's like several lakes here. It's actually really nice. Never been here before. There's several lakes here, and we're on like the Carp runs water, so hopefully we'll be able to get a couple of bites out of here. I've had a good look around the lake, and there isn't an area that's got loads of fish in. There seems to be fish like scattered around, you know, everywhere, to be fair. And this swim kind of like, there's a central island. We'll show you the lake in a minute, but this kind of like is the entrance to one of the channels that come off the back of the island, so it's a logical spot. And the other thing I've noticed, the ground here is really well worn, and that tends to indicate that it's a decent swim. So I've had a bit of a mark about, nothing too much. Just off the left hand side of the island there's a real nice gravel spot, so, and it's the obvious spot for this swim, so it's obviously been cleaned out. It's had a lot of bait, and because it's probably getting a lot of bait, that spot, and I haven't got a great deal of bait left, that is going to get a bag. That is going to be a bag rod, is that one. So that's that one sorted. And the other two are just going to go over to the island on the channel as it goes down. One of those other rods is going to go over the crumb. One of the rods is going to go over whole 15 mils. So that's kind of like my battle plan to start us off on this lake. And yeah, we'll get the rods out and we'll see what happens. Okay, so that's my 3 rods out. I am kind of thinking if I see more fish to the left, I might just move one of these. We'll see. You know, it's about 4:30, 4:45 now, so it's around about the time that the fish are going to show. So we'll just see what happens. If we get liners here, we'll be fine. If not, I might have a look at this water to my left, because the lake's really quiet, so we can spread them about a little bit from this swim. So one thing I am doing in here as well, I'm fishing a slack line on this venue. Now, when we was at Horseshoe, when I was fishing them snags, if I'd have done this to them snags, I'd have lost everything I hooked. Although that rod didn't go, and I'm really surprised about that. Anyway, so I'm going to drop my lines down, because this is a channel, like I said, and what I don't want is like bowstring line going across this channel, because it'll just spook the fish and they won't come through it. So I'm kind of like dropping my lines. I'm fishing a fluorocarbon, sinks really well, so I'm going to let my lines drop. And hopefully these fish will use this channel, and yeah, they won't spook off it and come through. So we're kind of hoping at this lake we're going to get a bigger fish, because I've caught a few small ones on this trip, to be fair. Yeah, and I'm slightly worried that if I don't get something decent tonight, then I'm going to be pest controller in the office and I'm going to get a bit of a ribbing. So this lake probably holds the best stamp of fish that we've been to so far. You know, we knew the other lakes had smaller fish in them, but we wanted to, you know, just show you different methods of catching fish without piling a load of bait in. But I'm kind of fingers crossed that I get a nice fish out of this lake, and yeah, we'll see what the evening brings. And I don't think we're far off them. I think we're in the right spot. We'll see. Right, so that's my rods done. We'll watch the water, and hopefully we'll see some shows, get some liners, and before long we'll get a fish out of this lake. I think it maybe was that line. Anyway, fish is in the net, so we'll get it sorted out. And yeah, I think it did pick that line up, actually, thinking about it. Anyway, we've got a fish, so we're off the mark. Well, as I was playing this fish, I thought it had picked the other rod up, but because the angle of that rod never moved, I thought it hadn't, but it had actually. It was just trapped on the bottom. That's why the angle of the line never moved. But we are moving in the right direction. It's a slightly better fish, and it's a good start to the evening. I'd give him about 12 or 14 pounds, something like that. So this was on that rod that was on that gravel bar that I mentioned to you earlier. So what I'm going to do in a minute is, because I've seen a couple of fish to the left, I'm going to run my marker through, see if I can find anything that takes my fancy kind of thing, and quickly put a rod to the left and move one of them channel rods out. Probably just catapult a little bit of bait over it, because I've seen fish there and I've not seen anything in the channel, to be fair, and the rod that's gone, this one, is kind of like in between. It's like the entrance to the channel, so I'm keeping like all my options open to me. So that's the plan. I've got about 3/4 of an hour of light to get that rod sorted out, and yeah, we'll bed in for the night. So that middle rod has gone again. He's only a small one, I think. Back to pest control duties. Right, I'll just get my net. See, the water levels are so low, we have to land them in this bit of marginal weed. This should be about 2 foot under this spot we're on now. Another bite. Same spot as well, off that gravel. Ah, that's good. Awesome stuff. Right, so that little rod is the one doing the business tonight, definitely. I hadn't put any bait on this spot, like I mentioned to you before. It's such an obvious spot. I thought I'd get away with it with just PVA bags, but after 2 fish I did put just a couple of spods on it. And yeah, this is fish number 3 off that spot. The left hand rod lined earlier as well, but no more than a liner. But yeah, it's promising. I'd say it's about 11 o'clock now, something like that. So yeah, all's good in camp. Okay, so bite number 3. Yeah, all to that rod on that gravel. So yeah, it is definitely a spot. So after the last fish I did put a couple of spods on it, because I've just been putting bags on that rod, but I have got a few spods left in the bucket, so I put a little bit of bait out, just 2, and yeah, it's gone again. So this is fish number 3. This is the PB of the road trip so far. So yeah, I don't know, something around 15 pound, I would say, something like that. But yeah, it's 3 bites and it's not even midnight yet, so yeah, it's really promising. And the left hand rod linered as well, so I still think there's fish out in that deep, so that rod can stay there. So I'm still pretty sure there's fish down there as well. So this one's in about 10 or 12 foot, just off the edge of that island, and like I say, it's just a patch of gravel as it comes off, and yeah, obvious spot, and it's doing the do for me tonight. So yeah, awesome stuff. Well, good morning. That was a busy night, wasn't it? Yeah, I had 4 fish in the end. I had a real scaly one, about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, something like that, just a little like 10-11 pound, but really nice scaly fish. So yeah, we're almost coming to an end of this little road trip, and what I've actually done this morning, them channel rods, and I'm really surprised about it actually, because we did hear 1 or 2 further down the channel and I thought they'd push up, but them channel rods didn't do anything. There was no liners or anything. So what I've done is I've just, if in doubt, chucked 2 bags into the middle, which is what I've done. So I've just, to the left of me, there's nobody in that swim, well, there's nobody on the lake apart from us. So yeah, I've just wanged 2 bags really long into the lake and just see if we can pick up, you know, a final bite. But if it doesn't happen, you know, I'm really happy with the trip. We've been to different venues, you know, we've used loads of different tactics to catch carp, and the main thing about this film was to show you that, you know, them 5 kilo deals, you know, just how much you can get out of them. I've actually got about 1 inch of liquid and probably about 10 PVA bags worth of the mix. So yeah, I've done all right. So yeah, we probably had about 10 or 11 fish, I'm guessing, something like that. So I caught a couple of bigger ones here, so I ain't going to get pest controlled at the office. So we're probably going to give it another 10 minutes or so. Everything else is packed down now, so we're ready to get off. So we'll just give it another 10 minutes ago, just in case we get a liner off one of them. So if you do fancy having a look at what the deals we do on our website, just go to the deal section, and on each deal there's a drop down menu of what baits are available, what hook baits you can have. We do all the fluoro ranges, the match the hatches, etc., and also the liquids that are available, because there's a range of liquids, not just the hydro spod what I've used on this trip. There's a range of liquids that you can get, so check them out on DNA Bait's website. So unless I get another bite, guys, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed watching this film. Hope there's been some tips and tricks that you can maybe take from it. But for now, I'm going to start getting ready to pull these rods in and get off on the road.